Okay, welcome back. Former U.S. Ambassador Chase Untermeyer joins us now. He's in town to speak at a World Affairs Council of Dallas-Fort Worth event coming up tomorrow. But for now, tonight, we've got him.
He's ours.
Ambassador, thank you for coming.
Yeah.
We're delighted to have you here.
We appreciate it.
And the book, as we noted before, is titled When Things Went Right.
Interesting.
And this really profiles and digs into your front row seat, really, for two administrations to some degree. As what would you say about the book itself? Is there a takeaway or a perspective that you think was missing among books that have been written about politics recently that you really wanted to share with people?
The basic part of the book is the adventure of somebody coming up from Texas. I was a member of the state legislature, had the chance to go to Washington at the start of an administration. It ended up being one of the truly exciting and consequential administrations. So I hope I captured some of that excitement and some of the special things that happened during that time. But at the end of the book, I have a chapter called Why Things Went Right. And it analyzes, I believe, those strengths that Ronald Reagan represented in the politics of his day that made him a success. Nothing very sophisticated or fancy, but frankly, it's missing in our politics today.
Well, that's my follow-up question. What is the key difference, do you think, between the Reagan era and what we're seeing today in Washington?
There are several key differences. One of them is that President Reagan was true to his principle, no doubt about that, but he was willing to compromise. He really believed that it was a success if you got 70% of what you wanted instead of -0, but still being true to some notion of principle. Today, unfortunately, there are people who feel if you make any compromise, if you even talk to the other side, that this is somehow a betrayal of principle. And the worst part is many of the people who say that claim to be supporters, admirers of Ronald Reagan, and yet nothing could be less Reaganite than that particular attitude.
Let me back up a little bit. What I found fascinating is that you have been writing since you were 9 years old, journaling,
Yes.
a diary.
Correct.
I mean, what inspired you at 9 years old? Because I didn't start anything
You were
like
writing
that when I was a
poetry and
kid.
then went into the diary?
No, I blame it all on Santa Claus. That is, in my Christmas stocking when I was 9 years old, there was a little diary, and somehow or another, I guess because even at that age I was interested in history, realized that this was a way to start writing down my history, which of course was nothing if you're a 9-year-old, and yet it was the only history I had to work with, so that's how it all began.
So did that help in writing this book, and kind of, did you put any details about that?
Yes, in fact, if you know the old saying, I didn't have time to write a short letter, so I wrote a long one. That's how I approach writing up every day. Every detail, I think, is important to try to create the atmosphere, capture quotations from people, the way they looked, the way the day was. And when I went to write this book, that atmosphere was there. It was a matter of capturing it, editing it down perhaps, but trying to take advantage of that moment and letting people have a feel for what it was like to be there.
Because you kept the diary even during those years in
Exactly.
administration.
And still do today. Today's interview show will be on
we'll be
Record
part of
for
your
History.
diary.
Oh,
Thank
wow. I like that. Okay, there's an annoying thing that happens between politics and celebrity every once in a while. And I'm just going to voice that of a lot of people out there. Matt Damon gets involved in politics, George Clooney, different actors and actresses, musicians. Is that annoying when you're in politics and you're in the White House and all of a sudden, because of a celebrity, they're out there pounding the pavement trying to get things done? Is that annoying when you're on the inside? Do you know what I mean?
I guess I get your point. The answer is every side has its own celebrity. And there are people I remember who felt how ridiculous it is that an actor, Ronald Reagan, would be in politics and give his opinion.
Good point.
The same people, of course, would think it's wonderful for Barbara Streisand to give her opinion. She hasn't ever been elected to anything, so far as I know. It is, after all, a free country, and even celebrities have the right to give their thought. I find what's irritating is when it isn't really out of their head, but it's out of the hands of their publicists.
When they're mouthing something that they've been told, not something they believe?
You know, to be in favor of preserving abused and abandoned chipmunks from further exploitation. You know, somebody will come up with that as an idea, and a Matt Damon or a Keira Keithley or whatever her name is will come out and say it, and they get ink and they get video.
Wow, fascinating.
Ambassador, tell us about the event coming up that you're here for. You'll be speaking here.
The event, which is sponsored by the World Affairs Council of Dallas-Fort Worth, is to have a conversation very much like what we're having about some of the lessons learned of that particular period and how they might apply to our time.
You know, the World Affairs Council, I don't know if you've ever been to one of their meetings, but they're one of the really powerful, heady groups in town. I mean, they get to the art of the conversation really fast. And the guests, like you, Ambassador, are always on the highest level. I admire that group so much.
Okay, wonderful.
The book, Democrats, Republicans, liberals, they're all going to find something in there that they can learn from.
It's all there. Yeah, I'm glad to say one of my best friends in the legislature, Mickey Leland, staunch liberal Democrat, I talk a lot about him in this book.
Excellent.
Okay,
Wow.
all right. Well, Ambassador, thank you for coming in.
Thank you very
And
much.
once
We
again,
appreciate you being
the
here.
book is
All right.
titled When Things Went Right. Chase Untermeyer in town to promote the book and to
Hey, wait,
speak.
look in the background. Mr. Untermeyer's in the window in the tree.
think so.
I think he's
If
in
you
the
just
tree in the
squint.
background.
Get it on Amazon.
There
Very
he
nice
is.
of you, Chase.
Wonderful. Thanks for coming in. And the book can be found Amazon.com and everywhere else. Coming up next on the Texas Daily, we hit the streets to find what people are thinking about the hard-hitting Super Bowl. Don Wall finds out. Like salsa or queso? Which do you prefer? We're coming right back. Both?
Both.
Hotel?